there's a new model. There's a new model on the website. You can do a monthly subscription, playing all the tournaments for that one monthly fee, which is a better deal for y'all, especially if you winning and placing, where you get money. I mean, basically you place in the finals of one tournament and you pretty much get your money back. Um, nice nice little situation for y'all. So today, Coach Brian Callahan sat down with Easton Freeze, pretty much threw Will Levis under the bus. But I mean, it's fair. I mean, basically saying the places where he struggled, the places where he felt like we could do better at. For sure, saying that he was not relinquishing play calling duties for the foreseeable future. So I do think with a better QB that Brian Callahan's system will look a lot better. Um, will look a lot better as an offensive play caller. A lot of misreads, a lot of holding on to the ball, a lot of missed check downs. Just a position that's going to be played from the neck up in Nashville. And if you look at Will Levis's career, 21 games played, 61% completions, 3,899 yards, 21 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 69 sacks, a QBR rating of 34 and 27. Has lost 7 fumbles. So, I mean, if you just think about his career, with one rushing touchdown career, he's 22 touchdowns and 23 turnovers. Like, you can't have more turnovers than you can have touchdowns for your career as a QB. And I think like 2 seasons and 21 games plays is a good enough sample size for Will Levis. For him. Pete Carroll to the Raiders. With Tom Brady in the office, I think they could turn it around in Las Vegas. Yeah, it's not good to have 22 touchdowns and 23 turnovers in your career. You know, 7 fumbles lost, 16 interceptions, 20 compared to 22 touchdowns. Like, that's just not good enough at that position. Like, if you got 2 touchdowns for every turnover, like, you could live with that. You really want a really high percentage. That's why I'm not crazy about like the thought of Trevor Lawrence being traded for, because he's no different turnover wise to touchdowns than Will Levis. So if it's any topics y'all want to get into, we can get into them. But definitely Shedeur Sanders' interview with the Tennessee Titans brass today with the Shrine Bowl. Early reports that they love the interviews with Shedeur. If they were trying to overvalue the pick to trade it, that's what you would say. But I like Shedeur's personality. I think if you watch his podcast and you watch how he handles himself in the media, seeing is all the publicity, good or bad, that he does get. Like, I think if there was a person that mentally could deal with being a star in the league, I think it's Shedeur Sanders. I think he's got. I think mentally, I like who Shedeur Sanders is. Mentally, I like who he is. But you know, I done already had to set Shee's bad take Shee back on Kenneth Murray. I think Kenneth Murray was pretty solid at the linebacker position. I think if he has a running mate with him for a big portion of the season, I think you'd see improved play in him in coverage. I just think, like, with him always having somebody different side by side with him every different week, I just seen him be out of position a lot. Definitely media trained. I mean, Jay Frank, who's going to trade for Carr, though? Derek Carr is not taking a pay cut. He's a $51 million cap hit in 25 season. $51 million cap hit. I just don't see anybody wanting to take on that type of contract, like I said before, like the free agent quarterback market is muddied up with guys who haven't got it done and got an expensive ticket. ESPN Pinky, Jay Frank, Kenny Sloan. Appreciate y'all tapping in.
Let me teach you
he's
how
not
to
being
vibe.
greedy. I mean, that's the contract that the Saints signed. That's why I clown the Saints fan base so bad when they signed him, and I had to listen to a lot of Saints fans talk about how Derek Carr was going to get them over the hump. And I was like, do you understand how much y'all finally cleared off of Sean Payton? The reality is when y'all got Olave, y'all should have took Michael Thomas and Taysom Hill. Y'all should have shipped them. Y'all should have just started offloading people and just revamping. Going young. Like that year y'all should have went QB in the draft. Now it's like Spencer Rattler season and Derek Carr, who you can't move because his contract is too high. There's a rumor about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is $40 million too. Like, Aaron Rodgers ain't taking the Saints nowhere. See, that's the thing. Like when you rebuilding, the best teams in the league, like, all right, let me break this down. I'm glad you said it. There's Patrick Mahomes' contract that averages $45 million a year. There ain't many QBs that you could put next to him to say that they should make what he makes or more. So like you already at a deficit if you don't have Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't got a guy like that, like you at a deficit if you paying your QB more than Patrick Mahomes. Who are the other guys that compete? CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels. These guys are on rookie contracts, and you could just build whatever you want, offensive line wise, receiver wise. You could bring in Stephon Diggs. You could bring in Daniil Hunter. You could bring in Bobby Wagner. You can bring in all these type of people if you got a quarterback on a rookie deal. If you paying a quarterback $40-50 million, like you can't build anything else. And like, I'm sorry, I just don't see nothing at this stage in their career that's gonna like uplift you past Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Like you're not gonna get past them. You know what I'm saying? Like in the NFC, there's the perennial guys that can do it, but Jared Goff is not backbreaking money. Jordan Love is now getting paid a lot of money, but he wasn't. Jalen Hurts is now getting paid, but Jalen Hurts was on $1.5 million rookie deal because he was a second round pick. You know, when you got guys and you can build into it, you can go out and get. When you got a high paid guy, you got to draft well, and you can't do both. You can't do both. Man, hustle going up with that dance. If I'm Dallas, this Dak last year and I eat the 27.5. But see, that's the thing. Like, you got to say, if you're going to eat a contract, like the Falcons can't eat Kirk Cousins' contract because they got Michael Penix. The Broncos can eat Russell Wilson's contract because they got Bo Nix. Like, you can only eat a contract if, like, the Eagles ate Carson Wentz first year
Let me teach
with
you
the
how to
Colts because
vibe.
they had Jalen Hurts. Like, you got to have you got to be then drafted the person in that you're going to eat the money on. If you don't, then you lose. Yeah, y'all played with Michael Thomas too long. Olave getting close, but he not done. Then you can franchise tag that 5th year option. No, but when y'all got free from Sean Payton, y'all went right back in the hole and signed Carr. Y'all let the Raiders fleece y'all. They signed him and sent him to y'all. None of the backups to answer. Besides Stafford. Spencer Rattler. I would rather have Spencer Rattler trying to learn than pay Carr $51 million. The comment section going bonkers on the video. I know it. Draft Will. Like, what made y'all think that Will Howard is going to be able to take the Cowboys anywhere?
Let me teach you how to vibe.
I've already put up the graphic. If y'all watch my video breakdown of the reason why you got to have a first round quarterback. If y'all have watched that video on YouTube, then you already know that like the statistical odds of you getting somebody out of the first round and them turning your franchise is like an anomaly. And all the teams that do, when that QB does get to the market, they're always overpaid. Like Brock Purdy is 160 million. Kirk Cousins has robbed the league. Dak Prescott has ran the pockets dry in Dallas. Like that's what happens when you have a guy that hasn't getting paid that wants to get paid, as opposed to a guy that's already making money. That's like, I want the best team around me. But I mean, like saying you want to try to develop Will Howard is like develop him into what? 12 of the 14 teams in the playoffs have first round quarterbacks. The other two are Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts. Like, I don't think Will Howard has the skill set of Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts. They're mobile quarterbacks that could mask up for a lot of the other things that may go on, right? It's only eight quarterbacks in the league that ain't first round talents. Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Will Levis. Like, I mean, bro, like those odds is you're gonna need a first round talent at quarterback. And if you're gonna get a first round talent, get a first round talent. Like the Dallas Cowboys might not want to admit it, but you better off going to get Daniel Jones on a 2-year contract and saving money than throwing your hopes and dreams that you could develop Will Howard. Brian Schottenheimer. Saints is in trying to put eggs in one basket to get to the playoffs in one shot. They was trying to compete with the Falcons and they wound up losing. Then the team that won was the Buccaneers. And then the Panthers is probably going to wind up rebuilding faster than both of them because they putting themselves in a hole. They say put the video in the background. Nah, go. I got the stream in the background because it makes it easy. Mariah, what up? Salah is Dallas DC. The defense going to be fire. Man, we chilling, Alan. Becker, what's good? Spark. Anybody trying to catch hands and feet, though, you must understand. So I'm gonna do that GM. I'm gonna do the video on being the GM for the day for the Tennessee Titans. Because the Titans want 12 picks in the top 100 in 3 years. And it could easily be done this year. Like, easily be done. He say it's the delay. Been killing you, Voodoo. It's the worst, losing to a rookie QB in the conference round or losing in the super to the same person twice. Both of them bad. Both of them bad. Dallas really messed it up. I don't know. I mean, it's yet to be seen. To me, a head coach is all about the coordinators that they bring in and the division of the team. I just think the Dallas Cowboys are in no man's land. Like, they got to make some moves with the personnel. Nah, we ain't picking one. That both of them is an L, honestly. Yeah, I mean, Kool-Aid was a good pick. Yeah, I mean, Bill, I'm glad you said it. Now let's really get into what I want to get into. Titans met with Shedeur Sanders. You get to interview him. This is why I was saying the Titans are really in a good position, and I hate that the national media is trying to make fun of the Titans. You want 12 picks in the top 100 in the first 3 years. People are saying trade the first pick. I'm saying you get to interview, coach, and work with one of the two QBs that you could potentially take. Right? Whether you wanted to draft him or trade the pick so the Giants could draft him, you basically get to set the value for Shedeur Sanders. I honestly hope that he interviews well, plays well in the game, and they draft him. I think in the second round, you go in, you trade back, you pick up. We lost we lost a third we lost a third round draft pick in trading back for Will Levis to trade up to get him the year we got him at the top of the second round. We could do the same thing, get our third back, have a second, a third, 2/4, 2/5, a sixth, and then trade Will Levis and have 2/7. I think they got to be smart with their free agency. I think the best pickups that we got were people that we got value deals on: Nick Westbrook, Kenneth Murray Jr., Nick Vanette, Sebastian Joseph Day. Like those were the type of guys that we got value on. Tyler Boyd was a cheap contract. That wasn't a bad veteran to add to the crew. We got value on our two trades, D Hop and Ernest Jones. We didn't lose money, and we got a fourth and a fifth round from a team that wasn't playing well. I just think they got to be smart at how they want to attack this right tackle situation. I think you bring Brunskill back because he can play center and guard. I think you bring Radens back at right guard, and I think you draft a right guard. If you get a chance to draft a good left tackle, you could play that left tackle at right tackle, or you could get a free agent left tackle and put it at right tackle. Reason why I say that is people talking about getting Trey Smith. We're not spending $20 million on a right guard. I don't think that's smart. I think if he was if Trey Smith was playing right tackle, we could give him 20, but not to play guard. If that makes sense. I think, you spend money at the tackles. So I think like that's how they should handle that. I think they should fill as many holes on the team as they can through value type of free agency. Like Quandre Diggs was a cheap contract for a free safety that was solid up until the time he got hurt. Worley. Let's see, Darrell Baker, Worley. Some of those guys was good depth. James Lynch was good depth people to play the plug and play. And here's my other part about free agency and how to attack the draft. J.C. Latham is going to continue to stay at left tackle with Skoronski and Lloyd Cushenberry. I'm saying on the right side of the line, bringing back Brunskill and Radens at right guard, and then finding a left tackle that could play right tackle. Because yes, J.C. Latham was originally a right tackle, but I like J.C. at left. But I kind of see what they're saying. If they don't have a chance to get a right tackle, maybe you move J.C. to right tackle and get a veteran left tackle to play, or if in that second round, if a first round graded left tackle falls to the second round, you might get him. Because and you look at what some of the teams have been able to do at the tackle position, Rosengarten on the Ravens. Like when you set those tackles, like the rest of it, you can kind of work around. So picture this. This is something I've been thinking about as leading up to the draft, as the Titans are going to fill the board. Hopefully Nick Westbrook comes back. Hopefully Nick Vanette comes back. Hopefully like Sebastian Joseph Day, Kenneth Murray, who's got no guaranteed money on his contract, would be a perfect. Chance Campbell, Jack Gibbons, those guys that can play special teams. I think you retain like the core depth guys that don't cost money. I think you got Snead coming back, who's really got to prove himself this year as a star corner. I think Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is your second corner out there. I think you might can potentially move Cheeto. Cheeto is $12 million. I think instead of people talking about Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, and Key, I think Cheeto is the one that you look at potentially moving, because I don't think he's better than Jarvis Brownlee Jr. right now in his career. Solid corner, but I don't think he's better than Jarvis right now. You know what I'm saying? Because $36 million contract and a $70 million, $100 million on two corners last year that barely played. I just don't think it was a good financial move. And one of the reasons why Rand lost his job, because they wanted to be more diligent in in free agency. So This is what I want to Bill, chill out. This is what I want to throw out there to y'all. I think what the Titans should do next season, because I know edge is a big deal for the Titans. What if in the draft, in a draft that has a lot of talent in it, and or in free agency, there'll be some defensive tackles out there. What if they decided to either draft or get a free agent D tackle to play inside next to Sweat and play Jeff on the edge more? So it might kind of like the Chiefs do with Chris Jones. On third down, you might have Big Jeff lined up at edge with Landry on the other side, and then Sweat and like another road grader in the middle that could really push the pocket. I think the Titans gonna have to do that and then draft a guy. And I think Key's contract is not that high, like $7 million for Key in rotation, to say sometimes that you flip flop those guys and make them more ambidextrous, which would make them harder to block. Like right now, people just duo block Jeff in the interior. He doesn't get as many sacks, but if you look at tape on Jeff on the edge, like Jeff wreaks havoc when he's able to play one-on-one on the edge sometimes and just really bully one of those tackles. So I think that's what Key was. What, 3 years, 21 million, 3 years, 20 million. So I think that's something that the Titans should really take into account, because in a perfect world, in that second round, the Titans would draft a QB, and in the second round, when they trade back, like the guys I'm looking at is like Landon Jackson, Jack Sawyer, that you could trade back into the second and pick up. And, just imagine Landry, Sawyer, Sweat, Simmons on a third down. And then the next you take out and you put Simmons on the edge, Landry on the edge, you rotate, and you got Tavondre Sweat and another big interior tackle playing in the middle, like, especially in the run game too, like just putting, more size on the line at times, like guys like Harrell. I just thought we got killed when teams ran the ball on the edges on us. I think being able to switch it up where teams know they can't just duo block, double team block down on Jeff and kind of run and make the linebackers have to feel and safeties have to feel. I think you give a different look to the front, mixing it up next season. Then, you got a third round pick back from trading back. Then you got 2 4ths, 2 5ths, a 6th. If you trade Will Levis, you got 2 7th. I think that's how the Titans get to getting that high number of picks, getting closer to what they want in that top 100. And even more so, that they might package together that extra 4th and 5th and trade back. What if you did that? What if you traded back in the second, picked up a third, and then took your 4th and 5th and moved into the third from a team on that? Then that gives you 4 picks in the top 100, to come out to some of this talent that's going to be flying off the board in this draft. And then, some of the guys in free agency, if you're able to fill some roles, then you might think about, like I said, if you move Cheeto for a late rounder, a 6th or a 7th, or you move some of these guys and picked up some value pick. The Chiefs have always picked good in the late rounds. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that we should look to do. So we got to become like Karlaftis. He allows Chris to do that. He a problem. Yeah. Special teams. And what's funny about the interview with Brian Callahan with Easton Freeze today was I'm good on the franchise, but it allowed, he was talking about the special teams being so bad that cost us probably 2 or 3 games in the first half of the season, and then going back to late in the year when they brought in Hardy and they brought in some of the rookies, James Williams and Cedric Gray, and put them on special teams. The special teams fixed itself, but I think it's a fireable offense to be that bad, and it shouldn't have took a whole season to rectify that situation. Because I mean, the Bears in the Jets game, I'm gonna do some content on this too. If you want to go back and say, how bad can a franchise be if in the first game of the season against the Bears, the Titans was up 17-0, 17-0 against the Bears on the road, week 1, to the flip of them tanking in Oilers uniforms to the Texans at home and receiving the first overall pick and the worst record in the league. My, what a flip. Like like that's a documented type flip to go from being up 17-0 on the road in the first week of the season to getting the first overall pick. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. And I agree with Callahan. If you close that game out and don't lose it on special teams, you up double digits on the Jets. If you close that game out and don't give it up on special teams, the Titans potentially could have been 3-1 going into the bye instead of 1-3. And then, I showed y'all the graphic. They played the Lions and the Bills coming out the bye like they're dead. You know what I'm saying? It was a Colts Lions Bills. Like you're done, bro. It's over with. GG's. Like, let's start looking at next season. The Titans could be a completely different team next season if they make the right moves. If they don't make the right moves, Titans gonna be picking in the top 5 again next year. So, on your ideal situation, what's your starting defense looking like next year? If we could give you a third for Harold Landry, does either side say no? If y'all take the whole contract, they might do it. I don't want to see Harold Landry go, but if y'all took on the $22 million, we probably would do it. Because I mean, then that would take the Titans from 66 to 88 million. If y'all paid the whole contract out, they'll take us to 88 million. And like Bill said, if you move Cheeto, that puts the Titans back at the 100 million they had when Rand was there. And I think the roster would look very nice with 100 million free coming into the offseason, with being able to trade back. Then you could potentially get the first overall pick, a second, 2/3, 2/4, 2/5, a 6th, trade Will Levis in a 7th. Now we talking about the Titans having a very good roster. But I can show you, Jeff. I can show you exactly what the defense looked like. I ain't your everyday content creator. I could actually show it to you. I could actually show it to you. So, I mean, like, Jeff, if you saying how does the defense look? Right now, this would like ideal. Ideal, I would move Cheeto. My corners would be Snead, Jarvis Brownlee, McCurry. I probably would bring back Baker back and draft another guy. I would have Big Jeff, Tavondre Sweat. You got Harold Landry and Key on the edge. Kenneth Murray Jr. I bring back Chance Campbell and Jack Gibbons. At free safety, I draft somebody kind of high. Or if I had that type of money free and Javon Holland is on the board, I might do some stuff like this, Jeff. Now let me show you how Shabba Budu would change the defense. I bring Sebastian Joseph Day back. He was a 1 year, $4 million deal. Uh, I like James Lynch in that reserve role. I think he was pretty solid right there. I do something like that. I bring Baker back at that spell role. I draft a guy here. I draft a guy here. I draft a guy here. That's the three places on defense I'm for sure drafting. And I draft a D tackle. I draft a D tackle. That's how I would start my defense. That's how I would start my defense. That saves money. It frees up money. You basically trading Cheeto's contract out for Javon Holland. You see what I'm saying? You got depth on your interior line with Devondre, Joseph Day, James Lynch, and I draft another guy. I start playing Jeff on the edge more with Landry, Key, and then I draft a goon at edge in like the second round. I draft a goon at edge in like the second round. Maybe that fourth or fifth is where I go for my corner. I think it's gonna be a lot of corners out there. I'm looking at like Malachi Moore, Keon Sabb. It's one of them safeties from Ohio State that was pretty solid. That could be in that role. I think that adds a lot. You know, a guy in reserve role that played pretty good as a free agent. I bring Worley back. Like that'll give you a whole lot of depth at on your defense, and I think that's a solid defense because L'Jarius Sneed only played 5 games, so you bring Sneed back with Cheeto, and I'll let this guy that I draft fight with Roger McCreary for time on slot. That's why I think you could bring in a Keon Sabb or a Malachi Moore, somebody that could see Elijah Molden was a free safety that could play in the slot. I think you need to get a little bit more ambidextrous to be able to drop a safety down into coverage or take a linebacker and play coverage and blitz the other. Like I think like that would be pretty solid on defense. I like Landon Jackson and Jack Sawyer. Those are the two guys I think that you could get if you trade it back. I think you could get either or those guys to rotate edge, and then if one of them started to emerge, then you could talk about getting rid of Key. You know what I'm saying? And then on offense, this is what I meant. Like on offense, NPF would be my second right tackle because he's still on the rookie deal. I bring Nick Vannett back at tight end. He had 3 touchdowns as a blocking tight end. If anybody remember, he's a fourth of the contract of Jeff Swain. Jeff Swain was getting almost $4 million, and you bring in Vannett right there, get 3 touchdowns as a blocking tight end. You still got Wiley and Chig, JC, Scoro, and Lloyd. I think is solid from center to over. But this is what I would do. This what I would do because people was talking about 20 million for Trey Smith. People was talking about 20 million for Trey. I just don't think that they're in a position to want to spend that much money at guard rebuilding. I bring Daniel Brunskill back because Brunskill can play center and guard. Cushionberry is going to be hurt to start the season. So I do that. And then I take Dylan Radins and I bring him back at right guard on like a 1 year, 2 year deal. I bring these two back. That gives me guys that can play left guard, center, right guard. And if I can't find a left tackle in free agency, I'm drafting a left tackle or I'm getting one to play right tackle. Like in that, if you trade and pick up that 3rd or 4th round pick, you could draft like a right guard or a left tackle to play right tackle. And at worst, if worst come to worst, you can move JC to right tackle and have a veteran left tackle. And then if you need to swing him back, you can swing JC and move NPF up for a game. Like you got to give yourself more options and more outs than what they have. I think JC is solid at that left tackle, but I just don't think the free agent market, all the right tackles are pretty much old. So I think that's the way that you go here. On offense, I think you bring Nick Westbrook back. He was only $2 million last year, 500 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think 4th or 5th round, you drafting a running back. Scatterbo might be there. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee might be there. You might get one of those type of guys that falls down into that role. Because I don't think we drafted another one high. Spears was probably about as high as we've drafted in the last few years. I think this is too legendary right here. Shedeur Sanders. And then Tyler Boyd was a $2 million contract. Jaquan Jackson, to me, hasn't panned out. Traylon Burks hasn't panned out. But you can let Jaquan Jackson, you have Martin and Bryce Oliver has played good on special teams. I think that this spot right here has got to be a special teamer. So I would put Bryce Oliver there just because he's better on special teams. That's how I put right there. And then right here, I think that's when you got to look at the draft in that second or third round, depending on what you got out there. Maybe even fourth. I think you got to feel here. And if the Titans is freeing up money, you might can get really spicy. I don't think T. Higgins is leaving, but I think you can get somebody to that caliber over in Nashville for the money, and then draft a guy to play that slot return role and fill out through that. I think in the draft I want to see some young guys play in these roles here. I think Nick Westbrook with Calvin Ridley is solid on the outside, and I think you definitely let some of the young guys get that burn that what's the boy's name? Who's the slot receiver we just had? His mind just escaped me right then while I had it. But Tyler Boyd. I think you let some of the young guys get Tyler Boyd's run, and I like Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado. I like for him to be in that slot return role. It's a few players, man. I think the Titans got money free to go fix some of these spots. But ultimately, if I could build a defense, that's how I would build it. And then you still got money free. It's going to be some teams that get into a bind throughout the season. It's going to be some teams that get into a bind throughout the season that you could get your money back.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Now, Dylan Radins is not playing right tackle. $100 million on the books with the rookie QB, you would be the Commanders. But that's how I would put it. That's how I would put it. You got an interchangeable line. You got you're more ambidextrous. You got more depth at every position. And that's when you can start getting creative. Veteran wide receiver and trading down and going tackle. But I mean, if you the Pats though, like, what veteran receiver out there would you want to trade back and pick up? Why wouldn't you go after T-Mac or Travis Hunter? I would argue that Travis Hunter and T-Mac would be like Malik Neighbors and Brian Robinson, like a 1,000-yard receiver waiting to happen for $20 million less. Trading you guys, Jalen Thompson, drafting. That's just kind of in the edge. Help badly, recommend force. Yeah, the Thompson's expense. Colton Dowell, I haven't seen him catch a pass yet. Has he caught a pass? Only way T. Higgins leaves is the Bengals messed it up. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, Colton Dowell, I haven't seen anything from him as a receiver, though. Like, he can't return. So I'm saying that fifth receiver is, I want a guy that can return. So, like, a Jimmy Horn Jr. can return and play that slot. He can get all the reps that Tyler Boyd got, he could get. Let's look at Colton Dowell. Let's see if we can find him. Oh, excuse me. Colton Dow has one reception for 3 yards in his entire 2 year span in Tennessee. He's a good special teamer as like a gunner or something, but the Titans got to stop thinking about guys that are only good at special teams. No, you need a decent slot receiver that can play special teams. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes more sense. Exactly, Bill. Brian Thomas, yeah. Brian Thomas is who I'm thinking, not Robinson. Do we trade for Turpin or is he a free agent? I don't know what Cavante Turpin's contract looks like. Cincinnati, they said the Pope pay Higgins and Chase. If for both, instead the rest of the receivers pay premium money. Find out next time. Still got to pay Chase. It don't matter. Like we ain't waiting on no 7th round draft pick to play that fifth receiver role. This a new GM, and ain't no money tied onto him. Cavante Turpin is signed to a 3 year, $2.5 million salary. He is a restricted free agent this season. So if you're looking at Cavante Turpin's contract, he is a restricted free agent. So I don't know what his restriction is, but he's restricted. So I think the Cowboys get first shot at him. But I mean, I'd take a Cavante Turpin in the slot. Uh, and that's what I mean, like a guy that can play special teams that that is more beneficial somewhere else. So like, if you were talking about this for that contract, I mean, you talk about putting him in the slot on the Titans and letting him return. Now we got something nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not mad at that. If you put Cavante Turpin in the slot and let him be punt returner with Ridley and bring Nick Westbrook back, like that's pretty solid. And then you still draft a guy and still bring a free agent in. So then if you did something like that and you did this, now if you telling me we doing this now we getting real spicy. Now we getting real spicy in Nashville. If you telling me we doing something like that, and yo spell receiver is Nick Westbrook to play into the red zone with Ridley, T. Higgins, Cavante Turpin, Tony Pollard, Tajay, draft a third running back, Shedeur Sanders, Nick Vanette here, fill this hole at right tackle or move JC to right and get a veteran left tackle. Like Tennessee Titans is looking real spicy. You know what I'm saying? Offense looking real spicy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give me don't threaten me with a good time, man. Oh yeah, Triple Crown. His bag gonna be whatever Jay Jettis is. Chris Godwin. Mm, I'd rather have Turpin. The Titans need a jet sweep, bubble screen returner type of guy. He said put Sweat at right tackle. You just be making bad take after bad take. Like I think them the type of things that the Titans could do to to increase the roster. I mean, just the things I said don't cost money. It actually saves money. And then you got a young nucleus to work around. You know what I'm saying? If you was to make moves like that, I think it's still a lot of money free and a lot of moves to be made. Cause I ain't gonna lie, Javon Holland, Amani Hooker, L'Jarius Sneed, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., McCurry in the slot with a rookie and Darrell Baker. Draft a Keon Sabb or Malachi Moore, mixed with Daryl Worley as a sub, Kenneth Murray, Jack Gibbons, Chance Campbell, and maybe you steal somebody in the draft. I mean, it could be in that second round that edge is gone, and nah, he ain't gonna be. Jahad Campbell ain't gonna be on the board in the second for the Titans to draft him. But I mean, right there, that's pretty solid. I think you bring back something more formidable, and it's money free. That when free agency hits and somebody makes a mistake, like there'll be players on the board. There'll be players on the board. Because I mean, you look at the top free agents. Um, Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Khalil Mack, Zach Martin, Deontay Johnson, Cam Robinson is 29, 18 million. I mean, I throw a bag at Cam Robinson. Uh, some of these, but I want to get somebody young though. I don't want older players. I don't want older players. Don't want older players. I think when you look at free agency, you want to get guys that are young to help your team. I think Zach Wilson could be a good bridge. I think Zach Wilson could be a good bridge for a team. Um, Saints fans, how was Chase Young this season for y'all? How was Chase Young? How was Chase Young? Gar help throws the bag at Trey Smith. I've been hearing Titans people talk about Trey Smith, but I don't think we need to spend that type of money on a guard. Personally, let's look at Zach Wilson though, because Zach Wilson's only low at 25. He could be the. I think Zach Wilson might. Let's make a hot take. Zach Wilson could be somebody's Donald. Look, before I spend money on Kirk Cousins or any of those guys, let's see. Career stats: 6,200 yards. Oh, oh. He's got the metric that Buddha don't like. 23 touchdowns, 25 picks. Can we attribute that to the Jets? 44 sacks, 23 sacks, 46 sacks. 57% completion percentage. No, he can't. I'm sorry. I recant that from the statement. I recant that from the statement that those statistics are bad. Let me look at Darnold and Gino when they was in the Jets. Let me look at Darnold and Gino when they were on the Jets. Well, yeah. I mean, very similar. Let me see something. Let me look at Geno Smith. Because we might be saying that Zach Wilson is a better attempt at a bridge. Geno Smith on the Jets was, yep. It might just be the Jets, man. It might just be the Jets. Every year, whoever's been on the Jets has been bad. touchdown to interception ratio. He said take out that Leslie Payne and then the veteran minimum. He coming back to Chicago. Darius Slayton. For Watt and Pickens, he's smoking. The purgatory. What Saint? Hey, do we got any Saints fans in the chat? How was Chase Young? Y'all ain't got a let's see. He's played 17 games, 31 tackles, 5.5 sacks, a forced fumble. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Played a full season. Not bad. Played a full season. What was Chase Young's contract? 8 million. Not bad. I mean, how would I compare him to Arden Key? Arden Key had better production than Chase Young. Arden Key had better production than Chase Young. So let's see. Arden Key is hitting us for 9 million next year, 3 years, 21 million. 25 last year, his deal. Hmm. I don't know, man. I think then back to the Jets and being leaving the Lions to make the mask again. Hurt most of the year. Been when the bullies scandal and the Dolphins. Last time I just said this Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble. I don't know. I mean, like, if the Titans take Buddha advice, let me be GM for a day. I think they can fix all their problems and save a lot of money. I think they can fix their problems and save a lot of money. So those would be the guys that I would go after. You know, but for sure, I'm moving Cheeto though. I'm for sure moving Cheeto. I'm trying to get back all those core guys back on minimum contracts. I take a hard look at Javon Holland. I fix that tackle situation in free agency like that. And I take a hard look at Kevontae Turpin, a restricted free agent. I don't know what his restrictions are though. And depending on what the Bengals do, like I take another hard look at T. Higgins and I draft a QB. Now, is that enough for prime time? After the interviews today, Calvin Ridley, Kevontae Turpin, T. Higgins, Nick Westbrook, Akene, and draft another guy like Jimmy Horn. Titans could be nice. Draft another running back, 3 running backs. Fix that tackle situation. You can flip it. And then have a whole bunch of picks. But I do think my idea of putting an interior tackle that's a goon with Sweat and letting Jeff Simmons play outside sometimes, it would reduce the need so much at edge that I think Arden Key, who is not an every down guy, but like a guy that could come in fresh on third downs, mix him inside, mix Simmons on the outside sometimes with Landry and Key, Sweat and another guy, and just have Sebastian Joseph Day and James Lynch rotate the interior, bring Lynch back and Sebastian Joseph Day. I think you be able to come up with something there. I think Jack Gibbons and Chance Campbell, I think you bring them both back on 1-year deals in free agency. Like the Titans can make some moves. Darrell Baker, Darrell Worley. I think All those guys are cheap. That's not a lot of money to spend. Radens and Brunskill. Brunskill can play center. Lloyd Cushenberry might not be back to start the season. Vanette. Um, I think you can get busy right there. Not Richie Incognito. Call the plays. Man, they get somebody hurt. No Madden player really couldn't go out there and call plays for no team. They'll get somebody injured. But I think that's how the Titans could go about their offseason because they made a lot of mistakes in free agency last year and the money that they spent on some of these free agents. I really feel like they spent money on some players that should be moved. Because let's see, let's look at Traylon Burks. Yeah, Traylon Burks is $2.6 million. I mean, if I'm the Titans, I might package him with another player and try to get a seventh round out of somebody. He's a former first round pick on his last year. You know, why not try to get a seventh round out of him? Why not? I think anybody that they think they can move like that's like a non-factor. I think you gotta try to move some of those guys. Cause just think about it. Traylon Burks last year is equivalent to Cavante Turpin's whole contract. You know what I'm saying? Like we we need to be trying to get guys like that. Yeah, Bears managing the clock against a that was crazy. Any more? Let's see.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to
Concussion got Burks in the game. Green Bay derailed his whole career. Hey, this is what the haters don't want to see. Shedeur Sanders meeting with the Tennessee Titans. Hey, listen, man. I know it's gonna break some of y'all heart. Shaba Buddha going in the booth. I'm coming out of retirement. I'm getting me a beat. I'm making a song called Too Legendary. To Nashville. Shedeur Sanders song gonna drop on draft night. When they announce Shedeur Sanders is the number one pick, Shaba Buddha gonna drop the new song.